All right. Okay, so we have Craig here, and I've been working with Craig for 6 months. It's been an incredible journey of incredible transformation, and I am really proud of you. And would just love to ask you some questions. Yeah, to for other people to hear, to and to be inspired by your journey. So tell me, what was your biggest challenge before we started working? What were your challenges?
Look, I think some of my biggest challenges were I was probably always frightened that I was going to fail. I've always struggled with eating right, and obviously I'm in food as a job, so I know food. And I suppose my biggest worry was that I was always going to fail. I wasn't going to achieve the goal I want, and I'd tried lots of times to lose weight and eat better. But I'd always get to a certain point and then just fall backwards and give up. That was probably the biggest challenge I've had was failing and giving up.
Hmm. Yeah, and when you came, you said you want to lose weight, and before we started working together, you also had 2 heart attacks, right?
Yeah, so I had 2 heart attacks, and obviously I'm in my 40s, and I've had 2 heart attacks in my 40s, and I've got, I'm married with 2 teenage children, and the biggest fear I had coming into it is I needed to change what I was doing so that I could have a life with my family. And to be honest, it wasn't looking that flash that I was going to have a long life, and that scared me. And I suppose using that helped me motivate myself to make the changes and think about things differently.
Yeah, absolutely. So what changes have you made since we started working together?
I suppose the changes I've had is I've become a lot more planned in my approach to food for the week. So I'm looking at what foods I am ahead of time rather than just opening the pantry and grabbing things out. But also when we're shopping, looking at what the foods I want to eat and in my plan moving forward for that week. I travel a lot most weeks. So having a plan around the foods I'm going to eat when I'm away, how I'm going to do that, and just taking foods with me that are my backup foods that will help me when I'm away, when I'm rushed, when I haven't got time things. So I suppose the biggest transformation for me is being planned and having a plan for what I'm going to eat and how I'm going to manage the days when I am away, where it's not as easy to pack a lunch at home and bring it to work that I'm having to eat out, or how am I going to manage that if I'm in another city or things like that.
Yeah. And so when it comes to mindset, I know that there was a big shift in your mindset, how you approach, let's say, food, and also your outlook. Because like you said at the beginning, the focus was, oh my God, I don't know whether I'll be able to stick to this because I haven't been able to do that in the past. So tell me what happened there.
Look, I don't know if there was a magic switch or anything like that, but for me, I suppose, uh, for me, it's one thing that did help me change was I used to snack a lot at night going into the pantry, so I needed to find something that made me stop doing that. And I think for me, it was putting in a picture there of my family in the room or in the pantry, that every time I went into the pantry and it was right by the biscuits or whatever it was, and seeing that visual of my family and in 5 years, and pictures of my families, because if I was eating the food that I was eating, I probably wouldn't be here in 5 years to see my family. So that, I suppose, putting little messages out there for me to see visual, so that when I saw it, it made me stop and think about the choices that I was making.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of our work was really to find what motivates you, what drives you to keep
Yeah,
going, right? So the focus was not on what am I going to miss out, but
yeah,
rather what am I going to get?
yeah,
Yeah. So because
yeah.
that's what really drives us and motivates us to keep going.
Yeah, it was. I think, and look, I'm a chef, so I know about food. I know what is good food and know what is bad food, and unfortunately, I like the bad food a lot more than I like the good food. So it was actually just taking time to understand that, and I suppose for me, accepting that sometimes I wasn't going to eat right, and I was going to have a what we call a bad meal, or a meal I didn't want to eat. And for me, and that was my biggest fear. If I had one meal that was a bad meal, I was so frightened I was going to go back to the bad eating. So for me, it was learning, hey, that was okay. Tomorrow's a new day. Get focused back again. Look at really, understand what I'm trying to achieve, and just get back working on it again. I think that was one of my biggest fear, was failing and going back to what I wanted. So for me, understand that it was okay to have that meal that wasn't exactly how I wanted to eat, but tomorrow it's going to be a better day. And for me, planning, like if I knew I was going to be going to the rugby or something like that, and I was going to have that hot dog, instead of having 3 of them like I used to do, I'd plan in my week, I'm going to have a bad week, so I'm going to have 1 hot dog and only 1 hot dog, and that was it. And so I really looked forward to that, knowing that I was going to have those treats on the day, because if you don't have treats, it gets pretty boring.
That's right. Yes, that's right. And really planning it in, because like I always say, if we have it in a controlled manner, because we plan it in, then we don't have those uncontrolled moments, right? When it's actually that takes control over us rather than have control. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think with the night food, I did a lot of, as I said, my snacking. I think it was because I was bored and not doing things. So I went straight to the pantry and was eating snacks and chips and chocolate. And that wasn't a piece of chocolate, it was a bar of chocolate. So now when I get those urges, I go and find something else to do. I now have the cleanest garage in Hamilton, because that's what I go and do. I just go and find and occupy myself, and that worked for a while. And then I started doing things like Sudoku and things like that, just to keep me occupied rather than just sitting in front of the TV with a bag of chips eating. It was finding other things that would, I don't know, make me not want to eat, not thinking about eating food, because I was probably bored.
Yeah. So tell me, what have been the biggest and most tangible results that you've had?
The biggest, most tangible result, obviously, I lost a lot of weight so far, and that's been good for myself, because I needed to lose weight for my overall health. And obviously we haven't been focusing on the weight as the focus. It's been the food, but this has been the big tangible result. And the comments from people just keep me more motivated. When I go and visit some of my staff throughout the sites around the country, and they're looking at me and go, "Wow, Craig, look how much weight you've lost," and that is really nice. My wife has been buying new clothes for me, and clothes that I haven't worn in a long time, I can now fit. And I'll be going back to the doctors soon, and I'm sure that my tests and everything are going to be on a different scale to what they were 6 months ago. So those results, I haven't got them yet, but I know they're going to be coming. And even just I can run now without hurting with my daughter, and that was probably one of the biggest moments of the whole journey, was when I went for a run with my daughter, and we ran for 1 kilometre, which was a big thing for me. And she said to me, "Dad, you ran real fast. You ran the whole time," which was neat. And for a 14-year-old daughter to go running with her dad that's never done that before, it was quite emotional for me at the time.
Yes, I'm feeling the emotions as you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what did you find different about the work that we've done when you compare it with the things that you've done in the past?
Yeah, I suppose probably the biggest thing for me is every week we were talking,
Mm.
and we'd talk about what went well for the week, and then we talked about what didn't go so well. But I suppose for me is having that weekly talk with you, that I knew, and it kept me on task. I knew next week I needed to come and talk to you about what went good, and I wanted to make sure I had a lot more good things than bad things. So for me, it was, I suppose, being by talking to you, it kept me focused on what I did. And before, probably in the past, I would have given up. I would have given up because I had no one coaching me and helping me get through it and saying, hey, what about looking at this? Or have you thought about doing this? And this is why you're doing that. So that's probably the biggest thing from the past, is because I've never used someone to help me. And I just thought, I'm a normal Kiwi bloke. I can do this by myself, but I couldn't. So I suppose it's realising that I needed someone to help me, and one of my friends helped me find it, so it was good.
Yes, I remember they contacted me. Yes, because I think there is the stigma, if I need help, I'm broken, right?
Yeah,
There is something broken about me, I need to be fixed. But I always say, think about it, the most successful people, Tiger Woods, I don't know who else is there, like even Barack Obama, and they all have coaches.
yeah,
Because it's so much easier when you have someone on your side who's cheering you up. Like all the athletes, they don't do it on their own. They
no,
have coaches because it's easier. A
yeah,
brain surgeon will not do a brain surgery on themselves. They will find someone who can do that with them, not with
yes,
them, for them, right?
correct, yeah,
So why learning something that we it's a fully new skills, and there are other people who are specialized on that,
yeah.
right? And again, it's just so much easier when we have that support.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is you're making me think when we're talking about it, because in my work life I was very organised, I was very planned,
Yeah.
and I just didn't relay that back into my personal life. And it probably wasn't until you started talking about that I clicked. I thought, oh yeah, I'm doing that work, but I'm putting myself second, and I needed to start putting myself at least the same even playing field as what I do for work. So, otherwise I would have just carried on doing that. And I was for many, many years before I started doing these coaching sessions, that I always put myself second. And I don't think I would have seen that change at all without coming through this program.
Mm, awesome. So happy. Really, it's been incredible. I really need to say, you've been doing the work. You've been
Yeah,
showing up 100%, showing up, doing what we discussed. And if something didn't go well, it doesn't really matter, because it's a great opportunity to really talk then. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try find what works, until we did find what really works for you. And it's been going on. It's
yeah.
been going really well that way.
Yeah, it has been good. I think it's really changed how I look at myself and the food and the choices I make. It's been an incredible journey, and it's still a journey that I'm going to continue. I've still got some
Absolutely.
bigger goals, but it's given me the tools to be able to do it by myself moving forward,
Mm.
which is neat, although a little bit scary. That I won't be having you telling me every week what I need to do, and helping me out and make some difficult choices, etc., about myself. But I've got the tools now to be able to do that by myself.
And just in case, you have my number.
Yeah.
So
Oh, don't worry. If I need to ring you, I'll be ringing you. Yeah. Good.
exactly, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
So who would you recommend this work for?
Um, I look for anyone. I think anyone who struggled to eat healthy, anyone that has, for me, I had some, and I still have serious health conditions with my heart. I've had 2 heart attacks. But for anyone that needs to make a change, who's tried everything else, all the diets, all the things in the past to try and lose weight, it's for someone that needs help, to make those changes and look at themselves in a different way. I've always said it multiple times. I wish I'd done this 20 years ago, even with my work life, because I've been able to move some of these tools that I've been given into my work as well. So it's made me even better and more valuable to the company I work for as well. So it's not only me personally who's been benefiting from it, but anyone that wants to benefit from getting the tools.
Oh, thank you. This makes my day. Thank you
Been a great
so
journey.
much.
It really has. I am going to miss our weekly calls.
Thank you so much. Yes, same here. It's been really, really amazing, and I love working with people who show up. 100% show up, do the work, because that's how we see these amazing results. Thank you so much, Craig,
Thank you.
for sharing your journey with us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It's been wonderful. I'm a new person because of you. Thank you.
Oh.